5, 4, 3, 2.
Yugi Bros!
Okay, so I just woke up. It is currently 11, 12 p.m. I don't know. A friend linked me to speed duel updates, I guess. Let's go ahead and check this out. News, speed duel skill card text, and skill card rule update. Updates. Whoa. Wait. Hold on. I was gonna speculate, but I figured now let's just dive in. We're still months away from Speedle DX, yeah. But while you wait, we'd like to announce a few changes to 3 of the most powerful skills, along with a new, more thorough explanation of the skill rules. So, can we get an update to Union Combination so it doesn't work for Cyber Dragons? Question mark? I would assume there will also be an inner conflict thing here and probably something related to Twisted Personality. Skill card text update. The following skills have been updated to the following text. Okay, so wait. They're going to do updates instead of banning them. And you know, it's funny. Back in my original video when the survey thing was a thing, I had voted for let's just straight ban skills. But thinking about it more, I actually agree with this method instead. Let's errata the skills. That way they're still playable, but they're just not as broken as they originally could be. I'm still all for a regular Forbidden Limited list if and when we get to that point, but outside of anything that needs to be banned, I never thought anything did outside of skills. So if you're going to update the skills, then great. At that point, then I only want like a limited list for like certain niche cards like Knight Assailant and maybe Zoma the Spirit or something like that. But okay, let's see what they got here. Okay. Cocoon of Ultra Evolution. The only reason there was a sigh there was because I've been playing this with Relinquish for a bit. So I'm a little sad. Oh, these changes are effective immediately. Oh, wait, does that mean we're getting reprints soon? Because I would imagine it wouldn't be until the GX box, but that is not until February, the end of February. This is kind of cool. It feels like a ban list, right? These changes are effective immediately as of today, November 1st, 2021. Okay. Alright, so skill update for Cocoon. I can only imagine you only get one of each effect per turn? I don't know, actually. I don't know how to make this... I never really gave thought to how you would fix this card. Outside of maybe you can only use it with, like, insects in your deck or something. Although I don't know how it would determine that. Maybe like insects engrave. Alright. You contribute an insect monster from either field equipped with the card. And if you do special summon an insect from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, also flip it over, you can shuffle. This is the same exact... Oh, it's this previous text. Oh, okay. I was like, nothing changed. What are we worried about? Each of these... Okay, alright. So, updated text. Okay. Activate. Yes, okay. One of the following skills during your main phase, but each can only be used once per duel. Okay, so it's still each one's once per duel, but you can only do one per turn because you only get one main phase in speed duels. Okay. You contribute one insect monster from either field equipped with an equip card, and if you do, special summon an insect monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. You could not normal or special summon other monsters the turn you activate this skill. Also, flip this card over. Okay, so this clause right here actually hugely affects this card. Okay, so now... Oh, wow, okay. So now you don't even get Paranoid's effect where if it's sent, i.e. its actual effect, like if it's sent while being an equip, you could special summon an insect from your hand. You wouldn't even get that effect anymore. So now you can't drop 2 moth in one turn. You also can't do what I've been doing, which is playing this skill in Relinquish, where you like summon the Relinquished, bait their back row, their Book of Moon or whatever, sometimes even summon a second Relinquished, bait something else, and then flip Cocoon, tribute one of their monsters, and drop a moth. You can't do that because you wouldn't be able... If you normal or special summon monsters, then you won't be able to use this skill. Okay, but you can still set under this. So actually, if you take into account like actual Dark Moth, kind of like the more OG version, you can still like set like a Midoriya or a Dekoichi the turn you use this skill, but you will not be able to normal or special summon other monsters. So that's a good way to justify that. And also, this is a good way to nerf the ability of getting Paranoid's effect off as well as the skill where you just drop 2 moths in the same turn. Because that was kind of OP. That was ridiculous for what this game has to offer. So, okay, so that's changed. And the other one is you can shuffle an insect from your grave into the deck, then draw. Okay, that's exactly the same. Okay, so, and that's it. Okay, so, it doesn't say each. Oh no, yeah, up here it's each can only be used once per duel. Okay, I like the update. I think this is fine. This is justified. This skill was so oppressive for so long that it needed to either get banned or updated. So I'm completely okay with this. Also, I'm glad that you don't get both skills in the same turn, because there's so many skills in this game that like will have 2 effects, but you can only use one of them on that turn. And the fact that you could previously used to use both effects in the same turn was nuts. Not only did you gain the advantage that this effect gave you, but then, oh, you can draw a card as well. Yeah, that was too good. So I'm glad they put that into check, as well as the restriction on normal special summons. That's huge, though. That's a huge nerf to Moth decks in general. But it's definitely justified. So, okay. So let's move on. Oh, Inner Conflict. Oh, I can't wait to see this one. Okay. The previous text was, you activate it during your main phase. Once per duel, you pay half your life. You take control of a monster your opponent controls until the end phase, but it cannot attack directly this turn. The updated text is, once per duel, during your main phase, you can pay, 2,000 life points and take control of one monster your opponent controls that can be normal summoned or set. Oh, wow, okay. But until the end, until the end phase, but it cannot attack directly or be tributed. Okay, so I expected them to errata it the same way, but it just said it couldn't be tributed. But instead, they've actually nerfed this card ridiculous, actually. Instead, it's 2,000 life instead of half your life, so it's not always alive. So this is better early than late. You can only take something that's normal summoned or set, so you can't take anything that was special summoned anymore, which is also nuts. It still can't attack directly as it couldn't before, but it also can't be tributed. So is this playable anymore? I mean, I guess this still would be playable, but it's just not a blowout anymore like it previously was. Like, whatever you're taking with the assumption that you're just taking it to beat over something else, or taking a weak monster with a good effect and ramming it into something they have on the field that's stronger. You can't tribute it. So you can't tribute summon over the monster. You also can't tribute it for a ritual summon, so you can't ritual it. You could fuse with it, I guess. There's not many options right now where that's viable, although there probably will be going into GXbox. But wow, they nerfed this way more than I considered they would. Like, I figured, so this is substantial just because then you can't use it late, but that's still broken if you just changed this effect to 2,000 life. And I figured this would make sense, just because that was the main thing. Like, the whole reason a quote-unquote Monarch deck was a thing in Speed Duels was because you take your opponent's monster and tribute it. But the fact that it can only take a normal summoner set monster really restricts what you can do with this card now. I mean, I'm just kind of shocked that it's that nerfed, honestly. But hey, now we don't have to deal with. At this point, I don't know if anyone's still going to play this. You'll probably still see this for fusions for GXbox, but until then, it's probably out of the game now at this point. Twisted Personality is the third skill. They only said 3, right? The following skills. Yeah, 3 of the most powerful skills. So we're not touching Union Combination. Wow. Okay, so I would tell you that XYZ. That's crazy though. XYZ was already like arguably the strongest deck in the game, and you're not gonna hit XYZ. You're gonna hit. I mean, this is justified. was a long time coming. It's justified. This is also a long time coming. I agree that down the road, if you don't change anything to this gets more and more oppressive the more burn stuff happens. So we'll read that in a second. But you're not going to hit Union Combination. I still think Union Combination... I think Spellproof Armor down the line probably needs to get hit too. Because making every machine unaffected by spells just seems reckless. Especially with Cyber Dragons on the horizon. But my thing was a Union Combination... You can fuse with that card into the Cyber Dragon cards. But let's not even talk about GX. Right now, this definitively puts XYZ at the top. Like, there's no competition anymore. Well, okay, let's read this one. The previous effect was each time a player loses life, you place a counter on this max 3. And then once per turn during the main phase, you can activate one of the skills, remove 2 counters on this card. Discard a random card in your opponent's hand, remove 3 counters from this card, then destroy one face-up card your opponent controls. Alright, so that was what it used to be. The updated text is, each time you lose life, not a player. Okay. Oh, okay, actually, this kills it in burn. Because the point was you would burn your opponent with all these burn effects, keep getting counters on this, and be able to use the effect every turn. It gave burn a viable way to out anything, which was never meant for a burn deck. Like, burn, the downside to burn, if you play a burn deck, is you don't have outs, usually, to things. So, if they drop Jinzo on you, you should effectively lose the game. Unless you're playing, I don't know, cards that aren't burn cards that deal with that, but then it slows down the consistency of your burn deck. Like, that's the trade-off. But this skill made it so that you didn't have a trade-off, and you were just burning people forever. Okay, so, each time you lose life, place 1 counter on this card, max 3. Once per turn during your main phase, you can use one of the following skills. Alright, the rest of it's the same. Remove 2 counters, then discard. Yep, remove 3 counters, destroy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's... The only difference is that each time you lose life. Now, that's not to say that you can't still put this in a deck where you're paying life points to activate lots of effects. But this does gravely change the usage of Twisted Personality. Okay, so... the way I look at all 3 of these, this is arguably unplayable until you want to start fusing your opponent's cards. This is good only in decks that you're going to take a lot of life, or something where a lot of the things that you summon don't have a whole lot of attack points. So you're going to take chip damage a lot. So that's good for that. I mean, and this is a terrible example, but Tunes, for example... yeah, we're not even going to talk about it. Cocoon of Ultra Evolution, I think, is still playable for sure. I think this is the least hit one of the 3, but that is only because you can still set well while you use it, and the 1 of 2 is what it always needed. But this is kind of dead. Unless I'm overthinking it. This is an overreaction Monday. Everyone knows about overreaction Mondays, right? I don't know. We're going to have to test with this for sure. Is there anything else? We included these updates to... Oh! Speed Duel Tournament Pack 3! Currently slated for March of next year. Remember to play your original copies of these skills as if they had the updated... Oh my god! Okay, cool. So they actually announced a Tournament Pack 3 for Speed Duels. Alright, good. So we actually have more tournament exclusive things going forward. That's good. We really need that. Okay. So all 3 of these skills are going to get reprints in that. That's not slated until March, though. God, the GX box is in February. So we have a long way to go before we actually get to this point, but we are playing as if the skills already have the updated text because it says here, the changes are effective immediately as of November 1st, which is today. Okay, so... That's interesting. All right, speaking of skill cards, this is also a great time to go over the rules for skills. This is probably just going to talk about if you don't know how to use skills, blah, blah, blah. The GX box is loaded with 20 brand new skill cards and may allow duelists to summon powerful fusion monsters. Yeah, see? Inner conflict. There you go. There has been some confusion on how skills that summon monsters work. Does the monster just appear? Is there anything that can be done? Oh, good. They can Oh, good. They're going to clarify how you don't get the summon window. Is there anything that can be done to the monster with another Speed Duel box on the way? We took the opportunity to clarify this common scenario in the updated rules for skill cards. Thank God. because boy was this was the bane of most judges' existence for speed duels. Rules for skill cards. 1. You are not required to use skill cards, but if you do, choose exactly one skill card before each duel. 2. At the start of the duel, place that skill card face down next to your field zone or extra deck unless the skill cards instructs you to do something else with it, i.e. Toon World tells you to place it in the center spell and trap zone and flip it over at the start of the duel. Yes, that is how that works. 3. If a skill says it is a certain type of card in its type, like continuous spell or continuous trap, then after the duel begins, it's always that type of card and follows all rules for that type of card instead of the rules for skill cards. That I believe was already a thing. I could be wrong, but like let's say for example, let's say it's a Toon World went to your graveyard. It's still treated as a continuous spell in the graveyard. I'm pretty sure that was already a thing. So, okay. During the duel, you can activate your skill card by flipping it face up. If your skill card tells you when to activate it, then you can only activate it at that time when there is no chain being built or resolved. Because as we know, skills don't start a chain. So if your skill card doesn't say when you can activate it, then you can only activate it during your main phase when there is no chain being built or resolved. For more information on how to determine when the game is in or isn't in open game state, click here. Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know. 5. Activating a skill or skill card does not start a chain and is not a card effect. So this is the common misconception. These don't actually start chains, which is why when you summon something, and I'm sure they're going to talk about it here with the Floodgate Trap Hole and stuff, you normally can't. Normally you would be able to summon a monster and then immediately flip one of these cards, but because it kind of just happens, I think that's the best example I've had explained to me. You would like it just appears basically is how you're gonna go about it. Hold on, instead of explaining it, really, I'll let this do it. Cards effects cannot be activated in response to the activation of a skill because they don't start the chain. So whatever you do, it just kind of happens. However, cards and effects can be activated after a skill has resolved as appropriate. If Cocoon of Ultra Evolution special summons a monster, then after that monster is summoned, players can activate cards and effects just like any other time a monster is summoned. Oh, wait. They changed it? Wait, did they change? If Cocoon of Ultra Evolution special summons a monster, then after that monster is summoned, players can activate cards and effects just like any other time a monster is summoned. So cards like Floodgate Trap Hole and Adhesion Trap Hole can be activated. They did change it! Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay, so before, it used to be like, so skills before, because they don't start a chain, if they were to summon something, like, for example, Union Combination, you'd be able to summon XYZ Dragon Cannon. If you summoned it through the skill, if you didn't summon it through the skill, then as soon as it hits the board, it doesn't have an effect when it's summoned, but it does have it does have an ignition effect. But when it hit the board, you could do like Floodgate or Adhesion or something to it, right? But if you summoned it through the skill previously, because it didn't start a chain, because the skill that summoned it doesn't start a chain, it kind of just appears, and there was no window for you to actually activate an effect that would start a chain on the summon, meaning that cards like XYZ Dragon Cannon gave your opponent actually turn player priority to activate an ignition effect. I know my newer viewers have no idea what priority is. Longtime Yu-Gi-Oh fans will remember the days of priority, and when it died in 2012 forever. But you used to be able in Yu-Gi-Oh to, on summons, activate ignition effects before your opponent has a chance to resolve. So, like, let's say, for example, you summoned a Judgment Dragon, which says you pay 1,000 life points to blow up everything else on the field. That doesn't happen on the summon, but back then you were able to drop Judgment Dragon, on summon, activate the effect to pay 1,000 and blow the field, and then your opponent had the chance to respond to that by like using like Bottomless Trap Hole or something. So they may have outed your monster, but you still blew up the field. A better example, I guess, more common is something like Dark Arm Dragon. I mean, I guess that's still the same era, but like a once per turn effect. Back in the day with turn player priority meant so that you could summon your card, use your once per turn effect or whatever, in response on the summon, basically, before your opponent had a chance to resolve. So here, the way it previously worked is you drop XYZ Dragon Cannon off the skill, and because there's no window, since you didn't start a chain, because the skills don't start a chain, you were able to activate the effect to discard a card and destroy a card with XYZ before your opponent had a chance to do anything. So, like, it was better to summon XYZ off the skill because you knew you were guaranteeing at least one pop, even if they chained Book of Moon to flip your boy face down or something, Lost Wind. Oh, I guess Lost Wind's a different case because it's negating its effect, but you'd still have the ability to pop something before they get rid of your card, before they try to out your card. But here, they've changed it, so players can actually activate cards and effects on the summons through a skill. So that actually makes Floodgate Trap Hole relevant again. And it makes Adhesion Trap Hole not awful. This was a card that when it got announced, I was like, oh, this is really good for speed duels. But then because of the way the skills worked, I was like, oh, this is never going to resolve. And then Floodgate came out and made it even better, but also made it worse because it was like, oh, well, it's not going to be able to ever activate. Okay, so this is actually new. So this change is new. And I welcome that. That'll clear up a lot of crap. Also, that does kind of hit XYZ, but not enough for it to make a difference, in my opinion, because it's still just definitively the best deck. Like, they killed the other 3 skills that would relatively put you in a better position than XYZ, so XYZ still runs the game. But now if they summon the XYZ, or they summon the fusion off the skill, you at least can use your Floodgate to flip it down forever, and they won't get their turn player priority to use their effects. So that's cool. That's cool. I still don't think it changes anything, though. It doesn't change much, is what I'll say. 6. The skill on your skill card can only be activated once per duel unless it has specific instructions otherwise, or flips itself face down. If it does, follow the instructions on your skill. This was implied, right? Well, actually, everything already says once per duel. But maybe going into the GX box, they don't put the once per duel clause because it's implied, unless the skill says something else. That's... Actually, hold on. That's interesting. That's actually interesting. Hold on, let's check... Is there... So if we type once... Oh boy. If we type once per duel, what cards on here don't say once per duel that are now different? So Beatdown is now once per duel? I believe that's what that means. The skill on your skill card can only be activated once per duel unless it has specific instructions otherwise, or flips itself face down. So if it flips itself face down, it doesn't matter? Okay, so Beatdown's still... No, so then Beatdown's not once per duel, because it still flips itself face down. Okay. So scanning through this really quick. Dino Destruction flips itself face down. Oh, something like Dinosaur Kingdom, where all monsters gain 300 attack and defense. I would imagine that if they destroy this, and you would try to get it back, you can't use it again, because it's once per duel by that logic? That's an interesting thought. So... Ectoplasmic here, for example, does not flip itself face down. It gives itself a counter once per turn. Does that only work once per duel now? Because if so, this card's awful. Not that it wasn't before, but it's just straight trash at that point. And it only has a huge downside and 100 difference. That's something I'm going to have to look into. Also, for all these cards that say if you lose 1,800 or more life or 2,000 or more life, does that mean you can't use them again? Like Destiny Draw said if you lost 2,000 or more life, you can activate the skill during your draw phase, and during your draw, you search your deck for a card, reveal it to your opponent, add it to your hand instead of drawing. Like, before the logic was if you draining shield or something, right, and gain more life and then lose another 2,000 plus, you could use it again. Does that now mean that that's once per turn? Because that makes more sense to the once per duel clause, but the card like Ectoplasmic doesn't make any sense to the once per duel clause. That's something that we're going to have to look into more. Alright, but beyond that, some skills can do far out things that no card can do. If a skill does something wild and unexpected that you've never seen before, that's great. Skills are part of what makes speed dueling so much fun, so embrace the weirdness and get ready to get your game on. That was a weird way to end that that whole thing. I also love that it's like some skills do wild and unexpected things. I wish they added in some skills are complete ass, but I guess not. Okay, so the conclusion of this is that this has changed to be one of two effects instead of both effects in the same turn, and you can't normal or special summon other monsters the turn you would use the first effect, but you can still set. This one's complete ass. No, I'm just kidding. You pay 2,000 instead of half. You take something that can only be normal summon or set. You can't attack directly with it or tribute it now. So it'll probably be used mainly for fusioning. And Twisted Personality, I'm not so sure of its application yet now because only you take life, you get a counter versus any player. So in burn, you would never play this card anymore, I don't think, unless you're getting hit consecutively. But in a deck where you're either paying life or you're getting hit a lot for chip damage, this is definitely the skill for you. And apparently now you can use cards like Floodgate or Adhesion on a summon of a monster through a skill. So that's cool. The last thing is skill cards can only be activated once per duel unless it has... Oh, you know what? It says activated, and I would assume that means being flipped face up, and that's why the flip face down is relevant here. So actually, something like Ectoplasmic probably just keeps the counter going every turn. Okay. But it's trying to imply now that skills can only be activated once per duel, so you may not see the claws on cards anymore. I don't see the point to not putting the claws on the card. There's so much space on these things, unless they're going to start paragraphing skills, which I kind of hope they don't. But other than that, that is your changes to speed duels. This all goes into effect immediately as of today, which is good. These updated skills will be reprinted in... Speed Duel Pack Tournament 3, which doesn't come out till March, but you still play it as if it's the update, so that's cool. And, yeah, that's the Speed Duel update. I didn't expect the Speed Duel update until the GX box, so that's cool, I guess. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm unfortunately sad that Union Combination didn't get a slap on the wrist, and Spellproof down the line. I don't think it needs a hit right now, but down the line probably definitely should. But that's GX box lore at that point. But with these hits, or I guess nerfs, I should say, XYZ is instantly the best deck in the game. And I don't think there's a close second place. Because Magnets would be my choice if you couldn't use Spellproof Armor in XYZ in the side deck for Magnets. I thought maybe with these updates to skills that they'd make it so you can only play one skill instead of side other skills or other characters, but no, they don't have any change for that here. So with that logic, you would just side Spellproof Armor against Magnets in XYZ, and then you don't get affected by their field spell, and you don't have a problem with Magnets. But if you're not playing XYZ, I would tell you Magnets is the second best deck. By far. But XYZ is just definitively the best deck now. I'm a little sad by that, only because between now and the GX box, the format was very stale already, and I think it just got a whole lot staler with these hits. Because I don't disagree with the hits. I think the hits are justified and needed to happen, but by that logic, you should have also hit Union Combination. So, unless they plan on doing more updates between now and the GX box, good luck with your XYZ format, boys and girls. And, not that we aren't already having that anyway, but no, this is definitely interesting for sure. So, this has been Yugi Bros. And, I'm signing off with an optimistic view on Speed Duels. I'm glad they're keeping it regulated and checking it and updating it and not giving us the agonizing pain of waiting 5 months before they give us any updates. So, it's good on you, Konami. Can't wait to see what you got planned next.